Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Today, inshallah, we'll continue explaining the fundamentals of scripting and coding in Unity, also in C# programming language. C# as a programming language is a known programming language. In the field of development, we have many programming languages like C++, Python, Visual Basic, among of other programming languages. In Unity, usually, as I said, we use the C# programming language, and C# is considered as a case-sensitive programming language, which means if we change the saved words from capital to small, then an error will show up. Let me show you. For example, if I change the name, the Unity engine, from U capital to U small, automatically it will show you an error because we cannot change anything saved from capital to small or small to capital. It will give me an error. Also, if I want to define something or write something in small, it will be different if I write the same thing in capital. That's what case sensitive means. I explained to you last class about the libraries, about the classes. Today we will start with the variables, defining the variables. Variables we use, it's like the mathematics when we use an X and Y or Z in mathematics for variables to store a certain type and value on the same time. So we have many type of variables. We have, for example, int, which is short for integer. In that variable, we can store a correct number without a decimal point. Let me call it, for example, x. I can give it an initial value, for example, 10. We have also float, y equal, for example, 20. The float is a variable that we use to store a number, but with a decimal. It can contain a decimal point. Also, we have double. We use to store a huge numbers. For example, and we have a string variable we use to store a text, not a number. Let me call it str equal welcome to our the design and development. At the end, of course, I need to add a semicolon. And we have also the bool test equal, for example, true or false. The Boolean variable we use to store a true or false value. We use it for testing or for statements to check something, and based on that checking, based on the result, we can do a certain operation or a certain task or execute a certain codes. These are the common basic variables that we can create. In Unity, we have some other variables related to Unity, like the objects or the text. The text, we will learn about them very soon. Now these variables, if I write them like this, then I can use them inside the script only. If I want to access them in Unity, then I need to add something called public. Public means that the variable itself will appear in Unity, and not only that, I can access these variables from other scripts. Without the public, these variables is considered as a private. If I want to access or edit any of these variables from Unity, then I need to add the word public before it. Now, if I click on save and go back to Unity, here inside the inspector, because I placed the script on the square object, here inside the script, I can find all of these variables. And by the way, I can edit their values from here. I don't need to go to for the code, but usually we do it from the code because it's better to do it from the code. Here we use it for testing. If we want to change something and see what is happening, we can do it from here. As you see, I have the integer, I have the float, the double, also the string variable, and I have test for Boolean for true or false. All of these I can see now here. Last class, I used the debug to print something inside the console. Now I can use it to print something from these variables. For example, instead of writing directly, I can call the str variable, which is contain the script. As you see, if I click on save, and if I open Unity and hit on play again, as you see, it will print from the variable I called. Also, I can use it to print more than one variable value at the same time. For example, here I call the str. Let me click on a plus and then two double quotation to write something. Here I will add just a space, and then after that another plus to add another thing. And here let me, for example, write two double quotation int x equal, and here plus, and let me call the variable x. As you see, what I did, I called a variable that contains a script. I write directly here. If I want to add, I just can add than one thing. I can add a plus between them. Here I added a script, and after that I added a variable that contain a number. If I click on save, if I go back to Unity and hit on play for testing, then I can see, as you see, welcome to app D&D, int x equal 10, the value I put it here or inside the script. I can put it at the update to make the execution keep repeating. These about the variables in general. But remember, as I said, inside the variables, we cannot store more than one data at the same time. If we want to store more than one data, we can use something called the matrices, or we can use the databases to do that. But in a simple way, the variables, we use them in this way. And here we have the next thing I will explain is the function. Function start with a void, and then we write the name of the function and then two round brackets and begin and end, which is the curly brackets. These are the functions between the begin and end, between the curly brackets. We write a certain codes that we can call and execute by calling the function. This is in general, but in Unity, we have some stored functions that we can use directly without the need for calling them, like the start and update. Start, as I said, will be executed once we click on play, and the update will keep repeating per frames, depends on the frame playing in Unity, which bear each one of these frames, the codes inside the updates will execute it. But in general, if we want to write any other function, then if we want to execute the codes inside it, we need to call it. We said before, a class, it's like a container. The functions like this is considered as a small containers inside the big containers. Each one of them has a certain codes we want to execute. So we place them inside the function and then we call them. This is in general about the function, and we will explain more about the functions. Now, if I want to show you more about the variables, let me place this here, for example. And before it, what I want to do, I want to do, I'm going to call the variable and then click add plus plus after it and semicolon. Plus plus means that the variable will be increased by 1. The variable will have an increment by 1. I can also use the, for example, y minus minus. I can use the minus minus to make a decrement by 1 also. If I want to make the value, the variable keep increasing, not by 1, for example, by 2 or by 10, then I need to do it in the traditional way. For example, x equal x plus 5. Every time the value will be increased by 5. Let me change these 4 comments because I don't want to execute them. Let me execute this one. And remember, I put them inside the update, which means that the codes will keep executing. But take a look, the number will start increasing because the execution will be very fast, playing the frames, then the number will be increased very quickly. But this is in general how to make a certain operation. Also, I can define a new variable and put these two variables inside it. We can make an addition operation or a subtraction or multiplication or division in a basic way by using the name of the variables and by using the equal, the plus and minus, and at the end semicolon, and then we can print that. We can do that for the any mathematical equation, simple mathematical equation we want to create. That's in general, that's a brief explanation about the scripting, the classes, the functions, the variables. And the last thing I'm going to explain today is how to print something on the screen. I don't want to keep testing inside the console. In order to print something inside the screen, I need to go to game object to create a new text box UI, and then I need to select text slash text mesh pro. Sorry, dash this text mesh pro. If you use it for the first time, then the system will give you like this. Or if you updated your Unity, also you will receive this message to ask you to import the assets. You need to click on import to be able to use it easily and correctly. Once you click at any of these elements, then a canvas will be created. Based on that canvas, you will be able to add the UI elements and execute them, for example, for mobile or desktop application. So we work usually based on canvases. And here inside, I have the text. Let me check where is that text. If you see, the text now is outside. If I want to put it accurately, I need to click on F1 focus to see the canvas I have. I'm going to put it here, for example. Let me move it here. And now you can see it. Here I can edit the basic attribute of the text based on what you already know if you added a text in any other software, like the style, the size, the typeface, and the color. All of these things you can change. Also, you can write here whatever you want. But for me, I'm not going to write something. I'm going to write inside this text box by using the script. But I already created and placed it correctly, changed whatever I want. And now I can go back to my script to start writing inside that script. First of all, I need to call a library related to be able to access all the things related to text. So here I need to write using. Usually, if I want to call a certain library, I start with using. Then I need to write TMPro for TextMeshPro. And if you can see, if you write something and you don't use it, it will appear in gray, not in white. Once you use it, it will appear in white. Here I need to define a variable, and that variable I will use to place the text inside it. So here I need to define a variable, and the type of that variable will be TextMeshPro. If I use the text mesh outside the canvas, if I use the text inside the UI object, then I need to define the type of the variable TextMeshProUGUI. After that, let me name it, for example, T1 and semicolon. I don't need to put a value inside it because we do that in Unity. Here inside the update, because I wanted to keep repeating, I can call the variable T1 dot text. If I want to change the value and show it in the screen, I write dot text. And then if I want to put a text, a string variable value, I can put it directly T1.text equal str. Now welcome to app design and development will appear on the screen once we execute the code. Let us try it, and then we'll try to add a value, a number inside it. Now, if I hit on play, I don't want to see it in the console. I want to see it on the screen. It will not appear because there's something else I need to do. Here, I need to go to my script, and here I have a variable empty. If I want to use a certain text, I need to drag my text here inside as a variable. Now I can use it and print on a screen. As you see, I have it here. Of course, the text itself, I can adjust the controller. If I want to see it in a single line, I can do it from here. Or I can reduce the font size. Now I use it to print a text. I can use it the same variable, the same text I can use to print a value. For example, the number I have, if I want to print the x value, here instead of str, text t1.text, I can print x, but to string function. Why I did that? Because the text box deals only with text. If I want to store a value or show a value, a number value inside it, the system will not, the system will give me an error. So if I want to put a number inside it and show it inside the screen, I need to convert that number to text. How to do that? There's a store function also called ToString. After the number value, I need to call it and then semicolon. Then the number will be changed to text for the system and printed on the screen. Because I added an increment by 5 before it, let us see what will happen. See now the numbers keep repeating. Also, if you click on square the X, you can check it from here how it is repeating. Of course, also here you can add more, you can print more than one variable at the same time, or you can write directly and you can put a plus between them. For example, here I'm going to call the str plus to put both of them. Let me make a space between them like this. I use the double quotation to add an extra space. I can click on save. Let me click on play to see. Now I just printed the value of more than one variable inside the same text. I can do that, or I can create another text with another variable name and then print whatever I want inside each one of them. That's it for today. Next class, we'll continue working on more advanced scripting elements. See you next class, inshallah, and thank you.